Hey guys and girls, it's Hayley Quinn here, and it is my pleasure to be joined by one of my awesome, most favoritist guests, source of wisdom on all things international dating. This is the CEO of the ABCs of Attraction, Mr. JT Tran. He's also America's, I would say the world's #1 Asian male dating coach, and I'm so excited because the last time I spoke to you, you actually gave what I really love, applicable advice, so stuff that the guys that are listening, so if you're listening to this video, in the next few minutes you're going to hear advice that you'll actually be able to go out and use straight away. And also I have to say much respect and love for the fact that you challenge the norm and some stereotypes. You're doing the valuable good work and having a lot of fun.
Well, you know what, I always love coming out here and meeting Hayley here in beautiful London. I mean, the weather is like gray, but London for Asian guys is amazing. It really is. I have such a good time. My guys do too. So thank you for having me.
Well, you know what's funny is I think if you're watching this video, for some of the Asian guys that I work with, they can say, well, you know what, it's like British girls or girls in London, girls in other countries are much more open. I don't think that's the case. So for the guys out there that maybe are thinking, you know, I just don't have like the right look that women go for, like I'm shorter than the girls that I'm attracted to, I'm not the right ethnicity, nobody likes me, I'm not doing well on online dating. What is your mission statement you have to say to them, and how can we help them out today?
Okay, so, you know, this is as good as it gets. I'm like 5'5". I wish I was born tall, dark, and handsome, but I can settle for being short, stunning, and smooth, right? There's something, and pardon my French, what I like to teach my students is the idea of the fuckable line, okay? Okay, bear with me. The idea is women have a certain criteria that a guy must meet before she would even put him in her dating pool. Not like she wants to sleep with you right then and there, but like, are you even dateable? Or like, could she even consider you like in that pool? And for a lot of us Asian guys, or even short guys, or just any of us that aren't classically good looking and meet that sexual archetype, we don't necessarily meet that standard, right? So that's the entire idea of like game. Like say, average Joe, I'm like a 5, right? I'm like purely average. And let's say her quote unquote fuckable line is a 7. Through game, you know, I talk to her, show my values, show my personality, and I bridge that gap, right? Over a course of like 1-2 hours. And, you know, hopefully I get past that. However, a lot of guys, especially Asian guys, who aren't really used to dating like Western women fall under that fuckable line, because if you look like a stereotype, you walk like a stereotype, you talk like a stereotype, they will treat you like a stereotype. Because they if a white girl or a black girl, a European girl, has never dated an Asian guy, she's going to draw upon her experience. Yes, the cloud.
I remember you talking to me about the cloud, and it's so true. And for the women out there, I'm just going to say this to you quickly, I think it's really worth expanding the clouds database because I found actually that concept that you said, that women have this idea about kind of guys that they're attracted to based on their past experiences,
what they see in Hollywood,
their upbringing. And in fact, the guys that could be, first of all, most appropriate for them or really sexy or great fun might not necessarily fit that preconceived image.
Right. So, you know, women, they'll draw upon like Hollywood and whatnot. And again, if you're like me, I have to, when I approach, have a very strong kind of masculine identity. So this is why I love teaching my Asian students, or like short, or just anyone that's not handsome, direct style game, because it forces her to evaluate me, like who I am, instead of like, oh, here's another like short Asian guy talking to me. You know, like again, drawing upon it. Not that everybody does this, obviously, but it's there. So like direct game is really good because not only does it kind of jar her thinking. If I go up to a girl and say, you are fucking beautiful, she kind of like, oh, okay, this guy came in kind of strong, but still in a hopefully positive masculine manner. And then through, you know, your physical game, you move along that interaction instead of like standing around talking, because if you're like a lot of my students who are ESL and English is their second language, you can't just stand there and talk and convince her, like, you know, to be attracted to you if you don't have really good verbal game. So I also like to teach my students how to physically be direct and to physically escalate, so that again she looks at you in a new paradigm instead of a stereotype.
Okay, I love the word paradigm. I'm all for changing and shifting a paradigm. I think for the uninitiated that might be on my channel, by direct game, you mean not hiding your intentions, right? Just going right in there.
Showing your romantic and your sexual intent in a non-creepy manner. That's very important. But doing it in a manner where you're not trying to protect your ego. You're not trying to catcall. You're not going like, damn girl, look at your badonkadonk. Or what do you guys say in Britain? Oh, you're so fit.
Fit, you're fit, you're fit.
Someone's telling me that's the catcall here.
You're fit, but don't you know it?
Yeah. I was like, what does fit mean? I don't. But apparently, you know, you don't catcall. You're putting yourself out there. And I know for some of you guys that might be a little bit scary if they're not practiced or versed in it. But the reality is, women especially aren't going to be mean to you because you're kind of socially trained to be polite, especially if that person is being genuine, authentic, and nice to you. So the reality is, it's actually very effective. But again, you've got to work on your passive value. You've got to work on.
I find, you know what I find creepier, apart from the catcalling thing, which is max creepy.
Yeah.
If a guy obviously is attracted to you and wants to go out with you, but then covers it with all the excuses. You know, for me, I get like guys saying, "Oh, let's have a business networking meeting," and I'm like, shut up. And you know what I do? Because I'm like, okay, sure, send me I would like to see send me a PDF of what objectives you
what's the agenda?
And then we'll talk. But it's because I so strongly believe that it's like, you have to go in with what you want to achieve as your outcome anyway. And in order, as you said, to shift that paradigm and to get, you know, make this woman see you in that way, if you're engaging with her in a way that's very indirect, like every guy has ever walked up to her, then there's no way that she can begin to process or see your individuality. And especially in big cosmopolitan cities like London, unfortunately, due to dating apps or whatever, we kind of think there's an endless supply of people. We don't get used to evaluating people on their individual merits. We don't take the time to get to know someone. So strong first impression and impact through body language is important.
Well, they say that it takes about 7 seconds to make a solid first impression. So whenever you guys go up to a girl, I always like to throw in keynote, like right from the get-go, right? Because a lot of, again, Asians, we're kind of taught to be a little bit more not as physical or assertive or sexual. So right from the beginning, there's something I teach, the keynote turn. So this is like, maybe if we're like at a nightclub, it's not really a day game tactic. But if I'm at I'm at an angle like 180 degree, I would go like here. Like if you can just imagine I'm coming from this angle, I would keynote turn her. But I am not applying more pressure than you could apply with your pinky. All I'm doing is getting her attention, because otherwise, if I kind of like jump out of the woodwork, I might startle her, right? So she's not a guy, she's not a bro, so I'm not going like, hey, like that. I'm not like poking at her, I'm not clawing at her, I'm not trying to grab her hand. I'm just going like, you know, turning. And again, nonverbal is so important because the very first thing she sees is my face. And we also teach the idea of the Asian poker face. Like when I was up until my first girlfriend in college, like I didn't realize I had the Asian poker face. And then I'd go to a party and she'd be like, are you angry? Are you upset? I'm like, no, I'm happy. But my face was like this.
Which is funny because you're so expressionate now.
Yeah, now I am, right?
I really notice it.
So again, first thing she sees is this. So as you turn her and you greet her, solid eye contact, full teeth smile, like cookies. If you can't smile, just say cookies.
And you know what else is funny as well? I do think that how people believe, how the social relationship develops is based on what communication we give in those first few moments. So, you know, if you stand back, if you're really formal, if you don't say very much, if you go for like something that's like a handshake, and you keep that physical distance, that sub-communicates to her, we are only destined to have a very distant social relationship.
Right.
So that being tactile, which I have to say, I think it's like some different cultures of guys are more tactile, right? You get a Latin guy, and you're like, why be so European, babe? Come here. And the thing is, why that initially like makes women go, ugh, is because it's that physical affection and touch sets off a reaction in a woman's brain where she's like, okay, I can start to see this guy. I feel comfortable and secure in his physical presence. I'm feeling physically attracted to him, because you know what, when you have touch in the right non-clory, non-pokey, non-smack them way, just nice amount of touch and pressure and physical connection, it builds intimacy, it builds trust, and it helps to create that sexuality.
Yeah, and it's also very important to understand this is a non-creepy, purely platonic maneuver, because this is the worst, is when you go like, hey, that's a little bit too much. But again, right from the beginning, I am actually concentrating more on my nonverbals and how I project, again, this sexual archetype or a masculine identity, so that when she looks at me, she turns around, she doesn't see me as whatever she's drawing upon the cloud. Because again, I have students that don't speak really good English, so can't use anything fancy verbally. It's like, what kind of information are you projecting through the use of your body?
I think that's amazing. So for the guys out there, if you had to give one piece of advice for a guy who's maybe like, I'm just looking in the mirror, I'm looking at my Tinder, the matches aren't coming through strong, I don't feel like the kind of person, what advice or what exercise would you advise him to do in the next week that would influence his results?
Well, you know, I always encourage in-person meeting over like online.
I think so.
So a couple things, if you just want to slowly turn around your thought process so you feel more confident, there is this idea of like the low and the high power poses that came from a Harvard University study, where when you stand in or you sit in a very broad manner, like you're kind of stretching or you're man spreading, okay? There's actually like a real positive effect, which is your body starts to lower cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and produce testosterone, so that you feel more energetic, you feel more confident. So that can slowly start to change the way you think. But also there is a mental exercise, which I call like confidence priming, where when you're going through that negative kind of thought spiral, to think of a positive moment that filled you with confidence or pride. It could be romantic, could be personal, professional. The point is you're going to change the way you think, so that right before you go up to her, like your thoughts become your actions. And I know a lot of Asian students, again, short students, that might think that, oh, I'm short, so she's not gonna like me, or I'm Asian, she's not gonna like me, right? You can learn the best pickup line, but the battle's lost or won before it's even fought.
Definitely.
So if you can come up to her thinking positively in these demonstrable techniques, then your actions as you talk to her and open her will be that much more effective.
So what I would say I love about your teaching style is you challenge stereotypes. You work on, because I'm a big believer in that as well. I think the battleground is up here. You've got to get your mindset straightened out. But sometimes in the process of getting your head in the right space, doing exercises like using the touch that you demonstrated, which give you that positive feedback loop, help to shift things around. So you work, and I like that you teach things that are practical, that are applicable. What I dislike most about some dating advice is it can be, especially women's dating advice, it's like if you want to get a guy, you have to manifest him. You have to, like,
it's very abstract.
It's very abstract. It's like you start writing the things down, and you put the piece of paper under your pillow, and
it's like the man tooth fairy is gonna drop one off.
And in fact, what was cool is I did a women's seminar last weekend, and I was teaching, you know, that what do you call it,
manspreading? Yeah.
I was teaching the women to look out for manspreading, like when a guy is like, that means he's flirting with you. So a lot of the time, like, I think particularly in places like England and I see it in North America and Europe as well, women want to meet guys. They want to meet guys so much that I'm actually coaching them to be able to approach men. So that's my call to action for you to go out there, make the most of what you've got, change some stereotypes, empower yourself. And I would say, if you want to follow more of JT's advice, where can they find out about you? You
can go to our website at abcsofattraction.com or give us a call at toll-free 1-888-689-GAME. That's 1-888-689-4263.
Awesome. Okay, and I'll be back soon with another video. Peace out, guys.
Bye.